Hello, Jim Townsend here again. You can find my website at townsend.be. That's townsend.be. What I want to talk to you about now is real money. You see, if you know what real money is and what it isn't, you can't be ripped off. So you should know what real money is. If you go to my website at townsend.be and you click on bimetallism, you'll find all the information I'm about to discuss with you right there. Money, what is it? Comes from the Latin term moneta, means to mint. So if it's not gold or silver or copper or precious metal, coin, it's not real money. You see, what a banker does is a banker fools you into thinking that a simple piece of paper is real money. Well, you wouldn't take a wooden nickel, so why would you take a paper dollar? It's the same damn thing. You see, the original paper dollar, what it was a bond. And that bond had written on it, bearer bond, pay bearer on demand, $1. So what is a dollar? Dollar. 371.25 grains of fine silver. It's been defined like that for centuries. The original dollars were called Joaquin dollars. If you look at the Spanish milled dollar was silver, so it had an S to represent it. The Spanish milled dollar was a Freemasonic dollar, so it had a picture of the world in the center of it, and then on either side of the world it had a column. If you go into any Freemasonic hall, you see them two columns. They're called Joaquin and Boaz. So we have the S with two lines through it, and that's what it represented. Silver, the Spanish milled dollar. So whenever they brought in the 1792 Coinage Act in the U.S., they defined a dollar of silver to be of the same weight and value. You see, the 1792 Coinage Act in Section 5 defines what a dollar is exactly. We never have had a gold standard. We've never had a copper standard. It's always ever been a silver standard based upon a silver dollar. You see, but if you read my little website on bimetallism there, you realize that the stock market can be used to manipulate the value of a dollar. Now, if you go to Section 19 of the 1792 Coinage Act in the United States, you find that that's actually a hanging offense. What the Federal Reserve is doing in the United States today is, by definition of the 1792 Coinage Act, a hanging offense. Now that's why they want your guns, these global bankers that have taken over your country and collapsing your financial system from the insides. Ayn Rand wrote in, I believe it was Atlas Shrugged, that money is the basis of a moral society. And whenever destroyers appear among men, they begin by destroying money. Now what she was talking about is, of course, a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. And if you do not allow that to be debauched, as it provides for in the 1792 Coinage Act, then there's no way that your money and your wealth can ever be stolen. You see, wealth is never destroyed. It's only ever transferred. And right now, a lot of people are losing their wealth. And more wealth is being transferred to the very few now than ever before in history. If you think you can't be sucked in by this system, I'm going to tell you something. When it crashed the stock market in 1929, people had no idea what was going on. But by February of 1930, 70 million Americans were living on the streets. And the same thing happened in Canada, but the system protects itself so the whole system doesn't crash. And I'll talk about that in another little vignette. I want to keep these short little vignettes just talking about specific things. So money, look at the 1792 Coinage Act. In 1967, they changed the Weights and Measures Act in Canada, and they took the definition of a dollar. And in order to cover that up, of course, they changed Canada over to the metric system as a smokescreen. Everybody was so pissed off about going over the metric system, they never noticed they took the definition of a dollar out, and then they exchanged all our silver dollars for all our phony money. We Canadians got ripped right off. So let's just look at how you count real money. If we take a look at the Coinage Act, we find a dollar to be defined as 371.25 grains of fine silver. This coin, however, weighs 420 grains because it has some nickel in it to make it harder so that it's not quite so malleable as silver is. This is an ounce of silver. This is a Canadian maple leaf. It's 99.9% pure, and it weighs 1 troy ounce, which is 480 grains. Now, if you were to take 4 ounces of silver, 4 ounces of silver is equal in weight and contains the same amount of silver as $5 of silver does. You see, there's a 16-to-1 relationship between silver and gold. And that's what the Coinage Act provides for, so that the coinage cannot be debauched, because historically there's always been a 15-to-1, 16-to-1 relationship between gold and silver. But it's hard to exchange things with using the ounce system, because you know you've got eighths and all that other sort of stuff. Whereas if we go on to base 10, it's much easier to make money. So we find that gold is defined in eagles. Now, a half ounce of gold is called an eagle, and it is equal to 8 ounces of silver, or it's also a $10 piece. If you look at a gold eagle, it's a $10 piece. A double eagle is a $20 piece. And remember, $20 of silver is equal in weight to 16 ounces of silver. So that's how you make the determination of how you bring them together and use that as a monetary system. Now, whenever they crashed the money supply in the last depression, all that paper money was nothing but fancy fire starter. But $10 of silver could buy yourself a farm. You could buy a farm for $10 of silver. You think it's not going to happen again? Look at all of the in the United States, where HUD is trying to sell houses back to cities and towns now for $1 each. Save yourself some silver. This is the reason you want to do that. Do not save gold. You see, gold is a scam right now, because the people that control the gold have been controlling the gold for a long time. There's no 16-to-1 relationship between gold and silver. Gold is way overvalued. So the people that own the gold are selling their gold for the maximum amount of purchasing power, and they're putting it into silver. Now, why are they doing this? Because they know when they crash the system, they own the courts, and they're going to bring in another Gold Confiscation Act, exactly like they did in all the Commonwealth nations back in 1933. Go on to my Townsend.b website, go to bimetallism, and you can see they ordered everybody to turn in their gold and sell it back at $20 an ounce. So they're going to get it all back from you anyways, and they're going to buy it with silver. So buy silver, because that's really how you make money on this deal. It's how these people make money on this deal. So be smart, don't get sucked into the system, and know what real money is. Peace, y'all. I wish you all the best. Let's fight this thing and take these people down so that we can leave a real money system to our children. Thank you very much for your attention. Take care.